Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao ma chune shumme washmale ohaya gonzaimus and highs and hellos to all those amazing people who are tuning to PT World and watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Khan and Maha Makhdoom. Hello Maha, how are you?
I'm good, Shahzad. How are you?
I'm absolutely perfect, full of energy. Tuesday it is today,
Yes.
but then at the same time to get this energy, you need to have sufficient amount of food early in the morning.
Absolutely. You need your sustenance and, you need a healthy breakfast. You need your food. You need, like, your carbs. You need everything. But, food is important because without it, we cannot survive. I mean, over the weekend, I wasn't feeling so well and I wasn't able to eat, so I wasn't feeling so strong.
Because, half of the time, if you don't feel all right, you don't feel like eating as well. But then at the same time, you might not even feel all right just because of the fact that you didn't get a good value of food.
Exactly.
Right? But then, Maha, over here in Pakistan, half of the time what happens is that, 48.6% of the population is actually malnourished. And when we say malnourished, what do we mean by that?
Malnourished, they're not getting the right nutrients in their diets. They're not getting the right food supplies, and they're not getting enough vitamins and sustenance to survive.
Very nice. But then globally, there's a movement for food security. And that was basically initiated by Ban Ki-moon, who is the Secretary General of United Nations. And he wanted world not to be worried about hunger by 2030. That means that everybody's going to have sufficient amount of food and would actually be economically viable for that particular person to get food, eat it, and then go to bed.
Exactly.
But then at the same time, over here in Pakistan, Maha, 80 districts out of 131, they say that, there has been inadequate rise in food security.
Exactly. And
which I will say insecurity as well.
But the thing is, the problem with that is because of the political climate, because of the security, you have extremism or you have these, attacks, that also affects food security within the region. And it's not just in Pakistan. There are multiple countries that are going through this. And we have been joined by some wonderful guests who are actually very good at this. And they have the solutions, they have the technology within their own, within the own continent, and they want to share this information so that people, like Shahzad said, all those millions of people within Pakistan, there are solutions out there. So let's see what is viable for Pakistan.
And what is more important is that our economy is actually based on agriculture, wheat, potatoes, rice, and we export it most of the time. But Maha, when we export it, I think we export the best quality. And by the end of the day, I think we still have to import a bit for our people. So I don't know whether we're going on the right way or not.
Exactly.
So let's just ask the experts.
Exactly. We're going to stay away from the export and import, but we're going to stay more on the theory and what can Pakistan do? Because like Shahzad said, that if we send all the best stuff out, what are we keeping for ourselves? So with that, we have been joined by Miss Renate Porus. She is the Deputy Head of Missions from the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Besides Miss Renate Porus, we've been joined by Mr. Romke Wustman. He has been a researcher for 30 years in Wageningen. Sorry, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it.
I'll try to help you. Wageningen University Research in the Netherlands.
We had it before we started the show, and then also you have you were part of the International Potato Center in Peru, and before that you were in Islamabad as well.
Yeah, I lived for 3 years in Islamabad.
Thank
Working in the whole of Pakistan.
How is it to be in Pakistan?
It's good to be back. There has been a lot of expansion in the capital city. Many new cars on the road. Many people walking around with the latest smartphone on their ear. So things have moved well to some extent, I think, within the country. I've been here only for a short while, but still, that's what I noticed very quickly.
We are still working on our sat-navs and Bluetooth-operated systems as well.
So,
we might get a decrease in that as well.
Okay, so now we're going to go for a short break, and when you come back, we're going to talk about food security and what we can do with the Netherlands. Stay tuned.
We'll just ask them, what are the issues? and gentlemen, welcome back. And for everyone who just tuned into PTY, you're watching World This Morning alongside Shahzad and Maha. And today we're speaking about food security. What are the core issues over here in Pakistan? And for that, we have been joined by experts. And Maha?
Yes, so let's start the conversation. So, Ms. Renate, so why are we sitting here today? Why are we highlighting the importance of food security alongside your collaboration with the Netherlands?
Well, the Netherlands, maybe not everyone is aware, is a very small country compared to Pakistan, but we have an enormous food production. We are number 2 in exports of food. And so we have a lot of techniques. We brought techniques and for producing, producing the seeds, for production, for harvesting, for storage, for packaging, and we are at a very crucial part of the world. We are our position is that we are good for import and export. So we are a big producer, and we want to share our experience and our knowledge.
But how did you manage to do that as a nation as well for a country so small?
Long history. And very good collaboration between the scientific institutes, universities, education institute, vocational training, lower, middle and higher, and the private sector. Because all production is done by the private sector.
All right, well, that's quite a cool factor. But then at the same time, whenever we talk about exports, so then exports might be quite higher. So then what type of different foods are we looking at? For example, is it potato, rice? What are the mainstream exports?
We are not a rice producer. We are too cold for rice.
All right.
So we import rice. But we export mainly vegetables and potatoes, seed potatoes. So you have to think of onions, cucumbers, tomato, paprika, and besides the horticulture, dairy.
All right.
The Dutch cheese and also the flowers.
Yes,
so these are all, flour is not food, but it has all to do with the same chain that we have with scientific work, education institutes and production.
Okay, so let me bring in Mr. Romke into the conversation. You're an expert in with potatoes, and that's your.
That's my core business.
That's your core business.
That's my core business.
Now, the Netherlands, as Ms. Renate said, you're number 2 for this. How did you get there? What kind of technology, what kind of solutions did you come? Because you've all worked together hand in hand.
Yeah, I think the basic policy approach has been what we call a golden triangle. So there is a intensive collaboration between producers, consumers, and government consisting of education and research. So that golden triangle has been a very great long-term view and supporting the development of the chain in terms of educational skills of farmers, of stakeholders in the chain, and then people working for each other. So I have been told by farmers what I should do, for instance, not the other way around. We need to listen to each other with a long-term goal in mind. And that's how we became number 2. And that's due to partly production within the country, as Mr. Renate was saying. And secondly, we are a trading nation. So we may import rice, because we don't grow rice ourselves, but we may also export it again, adding value in between. And the value addition has created a lot of positive balance in the economy. So there is only 2% of the people work in primary agriculture, but the national budget, or income, how should I say it,
GDP,
is 10% from agricultural commodities. So there's a tremendous increase in addition of value. That makes us very strong and number 2 on the world scale.
All right, very amazing that is. But then, if I'm not mistaken, so that means that even if you import rice, you're probably going to let it go through a process and then export it back?
That's quite right. That's a very good summary of what we're doing.
Really?
And in that way we make money.
Wow. Excellent.
This added
so
value.
You're the middleman as well, you're the first man as well, and then you're the supplier as well. Wow.
Well, one can have long change and we can have short change. And once a commodity gets in, we may have a short chain to add value and then export again. And that may be repacking or rebranding, whatever.
All right.
Okay. But it works, and it
works
it's
very well.
beneficial for everyone involved.
But it means also that you need to have up to the bill research. That's one. You need to have facilities, and you need to have skilled people operating those facilities.
Okay, very correctly said. But now what I want to ask is that, since ma'am just mentioned that, majority, in fact, all of them are the private producers, right?
Yeah.
So then how important is it for them to be on the same platform where the government is or probably the policy is?
Because we all want the same. We want prosperity.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
We want prosperity, and that's the goal of the whole community.
Okay, now to achieve this prosperity, because we're talking about how we can learn from the Netherlands and how we can apply these solutions and techniques to Pakistan. As you've seen, the public-private sector, there is a division. Now, how do we expect to get onto that same platform? Because how do you, as you say, we're a much bigger country as well, with, almost 200 million people, 180 million people. How do we get everyone on the same page so that everyone can prosper?
Because this is the first thing we need to do. This will be the first step.
I think
way
it's
to prosperity.
collaboration and respecting each other's roles.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do we start that? How do we start that dialogue? What's the solution that you would, what advice would you give?
Because even you might have done that a few years back or a decade back or 2 decades
Long
back.
ago.
The theme you are talking about is a theme which comes back in many countries, and I've been in many countries. The theme is always, one, you need to respect each other, you need to have a long-term view, so not a short-term gain, but a long-term view, that's important, and you need to have people, communities, sectors in life who support that idea as well. And that means, again, since the private sector has a more durable goal, to me, more sustainability in the system, we should very carefully listen to the private sector and the government supporting the private sector through education, through vocational training, through education in general. So if I look at my sector, I'm in potatoes, in aloo, as we say in Pakistan. It applies to the same.
Guys.
The same thing. There is a lot of export of Dutch seed around the world. We're #1 in seed. Why are we #1? Because we have only, let's say, 1,500 growers, potato growers, private growers, but they all have the same goal. They want to go outside. They want to move around. They want to be mobile. They want to show the world what we can.
Okay.
So we have to have that ambition.
Okay, but then on a very lighter note, how is it to spend 30 years of your life on an aloo or a potato?
Because you need to shift within the chain.
Okay.
All right.
I've been working on varieties. I've been working on storage. I've been working on international projects. I've been working on plant pathology, and that makes life interesting. If you just stick to your own square meal,
1 square meal?
So it's a field of specialization.
Thanks to the help. You won't move out. You need to move around yourself. You have to take your own initiative.
Okay.
And then it becomes more and more interesting. The same happens to your business, I think. You have to move around. You have to
travel.
really do.
We have to travel more and more so that we can observe more, learn
Definitely.
more, and then come back and share new ideas.
Well, also you have lessons that you learn in this country or in that area that you can help others to overcome problems.
Yeah, knowledge dissemination. That's right. That's very important.
Absolutely.
Sharing.
And this is why exactly you guys are here, so that we can,
Yeah,
share the
we
information.
invited him for a week.
Yes.
And
And
we
it's an honor
have
for us.
lectures yesterday we were in Islamabad, today we go to Rawalpindi, Faisalabad and Lahore.
So tell us exactly, so what is it, during your lectures or your talks, what is it that you are trying to get across to all the people that are attending?
Well, again, back to the previous thing, we listened to what people want. So we listened what the Pakistani communities wanted from us. And then we told them, that's what we got to offer, so we matched in the program. That's how the whole thing was set up. So yesterday I was talking about 2 subjects on the request of the Pakistani
Wonderful.
guest, so to say, whatever you want to call it, invitee. And I'll do the same today, and we'll continue to do it that way through next Friday in Lahore. Listen to what people want, and then try to get a message based on experience.
So what were the
proven
most
skills?
Yeah, sorry. So what were the most common questions which each and every brother or sister of mine actually asked? The common ones.
Yeah, the common ones, again, I revert to potato, is seed.
Seed.
The seed is lacking, good quality seed is lacking in Pakistan.
Right.
And besides, the cost of production is very high. And that's also related to seed. If seed is bad, the cost of production will be high. That means the cost of production will not be competitive within the country maybe, but also in the region. So you're losing economy-wise in the region because your cost of production is too high.
Right.
So you need to cut down on cost of production. That means you have to go for a local seed program. And that is to be #1 to get to in Pakistan.
Okay.
And you've got the facilities up north in the hills, going down to plains, we can all work it out.
But are we even importing seeds, or we're not, or are we producing them ourselves? Do we have such laboratories or experts over here?
The national need is about 4 lakh tons
All right.
on an annual base, and the import is about 1%, and the remaining is domestic, 99%, which is of poor quality.
Okay, of poor quality. Now, I want to pick up on this quality because before this we were discussing the importance of quality, because then the whole cost of production, I'm sure, comes into it, right? Storage, etc. Now, like we said, the quality is quite low. How do we now, in collaboration, learning from yourselves, how do we improve the quality for all those people who may not have the education, they may not have the resources or access to the scientific research? How do they improve the quality of their?
I've been discussing that same theme yesterday with the people at NAOC and BAOC, and it was a very interesting discussion, and I think we agree on the basic strategy, how to do it.
All right.
Because the area to do it are available in Pakistan, have been around for the last 200, 300 years, so that's no problem. We've got skilled people. You've got very good educated people within Pakistan who can run such shows. Okay. But the thing is, and that is important to us, we need to involve the private sector. Okay. Because the private sector, again, has a long-term view. If they are going to be engaged and the research work for the private companies, I think we have a model which will run well.
Okay, great. Well, let me bring Ms. Renate into the conversation. Your background is as well, in physical geography and soil science. So when you look at Pakistan, when you're looking at agriculture, what is the situation? Do you think that we can reach up to a mark close to the Netherlands, or is there a lot of work to be done? I mean, how many decades are we looking at?
Talking about, I studied indeed physical geography and soil science, but I now deviated to another job. But yeah, looking at the country, when I travel around, I do go, you see a lot of land that, for me, it's a little bit difficult to explain because there's nothing. Right. And you see enormous big fields full of, I think, rice and wheat. And
sugarcane, cotton.
And long ago in the 90s, the Netherlands government financed land use profiles for Pakistan. Okay. That was to help Pakistan government to select which crops are suitable on which lands, because in the mountains there are different things. You don't want to degrade the land, you want to harvest, but you have to be careful not to degrade the land.
Okay, but then at the same time, I think one of the core issues is that first of all, we do not get as many researchers, that's fine. But then at the same time, the normal labor or people who are actually there to harvest, they really do not have any information of what actually they're doing. But now, the world is looking at climate change, and geographically, it is actually having such a larger impact that whenever we used to harvest sugarcane, now it is like there's a delay of 2 or 3 months in that as well. People are not aware of that. They are just aware of all those conventional practices which they might have learned. How do you think that, we can probably educate them that climate change is affecting them? Because half of the globally, all the politicians out there, even they do not understand what climate change is. How do you think that we can make a farmer understand that?
Well, we have technology, because I think that's a very important question, looking at the future, because you always need to look ahead. We have some information and tools to, let's say, simulate the impact of climate change.
Okay.
We have computer models which can be used to, let's say, predict yield levels. That's one. We feed them with weather data, climate data, whether they're high or low, whatever, any location, and the computer will tell us what is the potential yield. That's one. Besides that, we have computer programs, software programs, which we call decision support system, DSS, decision support system, which can forecast the impact of a pathogen, disease, on a crop. And again, such will help the farmer when he's well educated. Otherwise, we need to have an intermediate person to advise on what to do. Okay. So that type of technology is available, has proven its value worldwide, and can be used by innovative growers, let's say in Punjab or Sindh, whatever. Yeah. That's an opportunity. That's really an opportunity we can offer.
Very interesting. But we're going to have to go for a short break now. When you come back, we're going to continue discussing the situation within Pakistan. Stay tuned.
Good morning. ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Yeah, we're back, and my glass of water is here as well. So Shahid, you can actually come and give me my glass of water. Yeah, and it's not a glass of water, it's a bottle of water.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Anyway, we were talking about food security and all this stuff, and before that, we were talking about the importance of technology and where Pakistan is. Now, coming back to the conversation, I want to ask Ms. Renate, the different programs, you know, within, like you said, in the Netherlands, you have the education sectors on board, you have the government sector, research and the science department, they're all involved. How long did it take for you guys for the education sector to come on board? Because over here, I think that's a primary concern, no?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the education has been always there, but we had a boost, I think, in the 60s.
Right.
Yeah, especially because then 50s and 60s. And we are very keen to have everyone after primary school to have proper education, and there's vocational training for special people in rural areas, sons and daughters of farmers. They take their vocational or middle level or higher level vocational training. Most farmers, even a youth dairy farmer, has high level education. And then there's outreach, because education you do after your primary school. And then when you're working, you need to permanent update yourself with the newest knowledge, newest insights, new technology.
And I think, Maha, over here in Pakistan, that's what the issue is, because we do have agriculture-based universities, and it's like 2 or 3. So, you know, and the entire population out there in Pakistan is just increasing day by day. So we would learn to go to a business school or probably engineering or be a doctor, but we're not learning what our economy is based on. So people wake up. I mean, dude.
It's okay, yeah. So now, okay, so that's the situation in Pakistan. Now, like Shahzad said, with the education, we need to educate people more. Now, for you, for example, Mr. Romke, coming here doing these question answer sessions, in the long term, what benefit do they give? Because if it's a one-off, or, you know, maybe, are we actually going to get a change or get people to start thinking along the lines of looking at new solutions and technologies?
You need dedication. You need dedication, dedicated people. And the interesting thing yesterday in our NASC discussion was, I was sitting together with the 3 main guys working in the potato scene from research part in Pakistan, dealing with KP, I believe it's now called, formerly NWFP.
Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
Sorry.
It's like the university
federal
situation.
Level, I'm learning as well. The federal level and the Punjab, so the main 3 persons where I was talking to, and they are dedicated. They are really dedicated. They want to move ahead. And they see that we need to go for what they call public-private partnership. And then I go back to the theme we have been talking about before. They are very keen to do so. And that means once you have this attitude, you can move ahead. And then it's not only a matter of research, but again, the primary sector telling the researchers what to do. Because they've got questions, and the research guy has to provide the answers. And simultaneously, education, training, and we have a lot of experience in many countries on what we call farmer training of trainers. So we train, we are the experts coming in, or the local experts, our colleagues, training the upper layer, and those people will be acting as trainers for the farmers.
Very nice.
I mean, everything's a collaboration. Everything.
And that means that you're going to have an exchange. And then we brought that system to a high level, I think, in the Netherlands, if I may say so, because farmers are getting more assertive. Once they have more knowledge, once they practice their knowledge, they're getting more assertive, and they will start asking questions.
But then do they practice their authority as well? Because
they will practice their authority because they bring in the money.
All right.
And once they bring in the money, they will tell me what to do.
Exactly.
Because I need that money.
I think that is very
knowledge
clear.
is power.
I need that money. You know, so we are going to in a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, so power is power as well, basically.
You need to realize that you can't change without putting your own effort into it, your own investment into it.
Okay, now we have pretty much discussed what the core issues are. You know, we do not have those research labs, we do not have those researchers, we do not have that information. But
it's not that negative, it's not that bad.
We have still,
No,
we have still managed to go on, and everybody over here is dedicated. Now let's speak about what different programs can be introduced in different provinces of Pakistan to actually get more out of it.
We had an interesting discussion last night because days are long, so
Yeah.
we do a lot of talking and meeting and discussing matters with people. And the issue last night was how can we help the seed potato sector in Pakistan forward? That's a central theme. And it's quite clear to me that some international organizations are quite prepared to do so. Basically, it's FAO, and they are committed to invest into development on a private public partnership base into seed in Pakistan.
Wonderful.
And the simple thing is I made some models, I presented them yesterday. It's a matter of taking a share of the imported stuff, use it as a base, nucleus base, core starting point for your own program. You've got the facilities, you've got a dedication, you only need to care that you're going to produce for a low cost because you need to be competitive in the market. So the challenge is low cost, high quality.
Oh, that
Low
is a
cost,
challenge.
high quality. But then for that, I think we'll have to focus on economies of scale.
Yeah, the low cost is also important because not everyone can afford.
Exactly.
And to have a healthy diet, you must, people, also the consumers need maybe some education, training.
Absolutely.
So what is a good diet? Is it good if I eat only rice, or what should I add to the rice? How do I get the vitamins? What is the use of vegetables, fruits? So are people aware?
So basically, an education on every single level.
Consumers, producers.
Consumers, producers, and then for all those people who actually preserve it. All right, we need to touch upon that as well because, you know, the preservation method over here is very obsolete.
Storage, yes.
Because they've got these cold storages, and then half of the time, whenever you're going to get the fruit out of it or the vegetables, it's not the way it was supposed to be. Or probably, don't you think, I mean, that's a very layman question, but I'm sorry as a Pakistani want to ask it, because whenever we travel abroad, okay, I see bananas of this size. Over here in Pakistan, I see bananas of this size. What's the problem? Because we have been producing bananas ourselves as well. What's wrong with it? Are we exporting the best?
Well, this is a subject we are not familiar with, I guess. But from a research point of view, there is some nuancing to it. One is that some varieties produce short bananas, and other varieties make big ones. So that may be an explanation. But the point I think you're hitting on is the post-harvest life. Yeah? The post-harvest life, once the crop has been harvested, you need to treat it well, and you need to treat it good. And then for that purpose you need certain facilities.
All right.
And you need knowledge. And I think something might be lacking over there. When I look at the thing I'm in, the aloo business, 30% get lost in the post-harvest.
Right.
And that's a bloody shame. That's a bloody shame.
Yeah.
If you produce 100 kg and 30 kg get lost.
That's terrible.
Well, and
It's terrible.
you invested for the harvest. So you want to have a return on your investment.
Yeah.
So
So
the
you have
more
to-
you can sell of your inputs, the better it works.
Now this waste that we have, this 30 kg of waste, how, okay, that's terrible. Like,
But what do we
need
do
to-
with it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We need to, how do we stop
We've
this?
got a simple solution.
Tell
I
us.
don't know how it works in Pakistan, but the solution we applied in Europe is that a grower runs his own store.
Okay.
So the system in the subcontinent, all over the subcontinent, not that's just Pakistan, is that you've got a growers community and you've got a cold store owner community. They are separate sectors.
All right.
They don't collaborate.
Okay.
And in Europe the system is that the grower runs his own store.
The
So
grower
he's
is a
got an
retailer.
interest not only growing his crop but also in storing his crop. So he wants to minimize
farmer.
losses. He wants to maintain quality. So he needs to have a good facility.
And that's a very good idea as well.
That
You know,
is, you're making them more accountable for their own products.
no, but
think
other
that's
than
the right
that,
way
there's
to go.
another another dimension to it as well. Because over here, what happens is that, you know, the grower is not the retailer. So then half of the time people go buy their product and then come back and might not even get them the same amount of money which they even deserve.
Yeah.
That's another problem over here with the farmers as well, and that's why they do not even put in a lot of effort just because they know that, you know, this is not what they're going to get paid for. So I think that's a brilliant idea that the grower gets to be the retailer as well. Go ahead, do whatever you want to do with your thing.
And that's exactly what's happening nowadays on a small scale in Europe. That farmers
Beautiful
grow,
idea.
store, sell, pack, make the branding, and make the profit over the whole chain.
And then just pay the
But
tax,
then,
that's
okay,
it.
now,
And then they still have to pay the tax, but that's part of our life.
Yeah.
Okay, so people, if you pick up on this idea, please pay the tax.
yes, Ms. Renate.
Yeah, but if you see in the Netherlands, when I was young, we had one variety of potato. When you're going to the supermarket now, You have many varieties. You can choose where you have big ones to make your French fries. You have small ones that you cook.
Make
You have,
pakoras
and you have bigger ones for mashed potatoes. You have collard potatoes.
Yes, there's all
And
sorts of.
you see the name of the farm or the name of the production area. It's branding.
Okay.
Before it was in jute bags,
Yes.
and now you see it very nicely and attractively packed.
But then you know what we are good at, Maha?
What are we good at?
You know, since
What are we good at?
I was born in '87, and since then I've only seen
Yes, we know you're young,
one aloo,
Shazad.
one aloo,
Yeah.
the same color, the same size, and we can make pakora out of it. We can make French fries. We can
No.
make mashed potatoes. We can
That's
pretty
what you
much do
think.
everything with our aloo.
No, you think that, but your mother knows that it's not the same aloo. They're different types. They're different colors. One's reddy and one's more browny. There's
No,
all
it's
sorts.
just because whether it's
Yeah.
mature or immature. That's it.
Okay, anyway, but okay, now we've talked about this. So now going forward, we've talked about collaboration, we've talked about solutions. The solutions are there. Now, turning Pakistan into, you know, the farmer into the whole shebang, you know, the storage, the retailer, you know, the producer, etc. Is that viable for Pakistan, do you think? Or will that have... I thought you said everything has to be a collaboration between the chain. But right now we're talking about one person being the whole chain.
Well, there is a nice thing which I would like to mention here. I looked at some statistics before coming over again to Pakistan. And the statistics focused, in my view, at the moment on wheat, being the staple, chapatis, rice as a second food commodity, and of course I included potato. I looked at the data and I noticed that in the last, say, 25 years, the production on a national scale of each crop has increased by 20 to 30%,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is natural and which is good, because population grows as well. I noticed also that the potato industry has grown in the volume over 200%. So the growth of potato is much higher as compared to the growth of both wheat and rice. And that means something is moving in the potato community. People are interested in growing potato.
Yeah.
And that's not only my core business, as I was telling, but it's something which to be needs some closer look. Why are people considering potato as an attractive crop? Because they don't grow it for some kind of new thing, they grow it for the money.
Because I think fast food chains have actually taken responsibility of slaughtering all the potatoes around the world and make us eat all the tastier French fries. But then, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere because we guys are going for a short break. Stay tuned, good morning, and when you guys are going to come back, we'll talk about international relations and collaborations on different levels. Cheers.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we're talking about food security and how we can actually collaborate with other countries who are doing really well and what can we learn from other people. Because Pakistan, as we know, agriculture is our main source and we need to sort this out because we're in the 21st century and a lot of people in Pakistan are actually suffering due to the lack of streamlined systems.
Yeah.
Life, right?
So you know, I think at this point, what we need to do is that we probably need to get all the information through the bottleneck so that people will remember. So all the core issues probably you might know them even as well. So the core issues are lack of information, knowledge, and then technology, and then research labs, and then researchers probably.
That all stems from the lack of knowledge that we
Yeah.
have disseminated, like the people have. But the thing is, people are working out, and they're very aware of the situation right now because, as we've highlighted, the figures, it's growing, but we just need to now channel it and
Yeah.
make it better quality.
And then at the same time, we have to work on the quality of our seeds. All right, this is what they mentioned, and then we might even have to import a bit because of the fact that we might not get good ones over here. So if you can. but then at the same time you have to reduce the cost and increase the production quantity as well. So it's quality and quantity hand in hand.
Yes.
But then at the same time, what you guys need to do is that if you guys are the growers, be the retailers as well and pay the tax.
Exactly. Yes, but that will take time. That's a long process and everything like that. So don't start any revolution, guys. You might get into trouble.
So have you missed out on anything else?
I say perfect.
Perfect summary.
Very, very briefly summarized. Now, okay, now we've talked about all the technology solutions. Now, talking more on the international relations front, the relationship that the countries need to have, to move forward, how important is it that Pakistan work hand in hand with, while you're here? For example, with you, why is it important?
Well, we have several programs as the government of the Netherlands. So we support FAO through headquarters, directly to Rome, but that also is coming here in Pakistan. We are a big donor for World Food Programme, IFAD, we are a member, that's the bank. And we have some bilateral programs. One of them is PUM, that's called Senior Managers. I have one next to me. We have a program that's worldwide helping private sector mainly. And that is retired managers. And they, on the request of a private company, they can apply for an export. And usually it's 1 month to be repeated 1 or 2 times, maximum 3. That they help a private company just, as we say, some push in the back, helping them in the good way. So not taking over responsibilities, but helping them. Well, sometimes it's very, very simple things, because if you're in it, you don't see what you can improve easily. And he is one of the PUM experts, so maybe you can say something about
and
your
then how
experience.
important it is to improvise as well.
Yeah, you need to look at it from a kind of helicopter view, based on your experience, and that can be ranging in PUM, from medicine to agriculture, to anything, to shoemaking, shoe manufacturing, anything. I think we cover 70 disciplines worldwide. But you need to be able to have a helicopter view of that particular company in a particular market where they're located and working and producing and making the money, and pinpoint the weak points and the strong points, kind of SWOT analysis, and do it in 1 or 2 days. A very, very quick assessment, and then also be able to, based on one's experience, to show the way to better management, a better financial position, and more profit opportunities.
And I think we need to do a very correct SWOT analysis of our own selves as well, first of all, before you move on with those collaborations.
That's okay with me.
Yeah, you wanted to add on to it.
No, but we have seen so many PUM experts all over the world, and what my experience is that a company can be helped by someone who's an outsider but uses his or own experience. I think that is the big value of the PUM program, the Senior Expert Management Program, because these are people who have done the work themselves, and they are helping others.
Exactly. And I think it's also easy to listen to someone when they've actually been on the ground and they've been doing it themselves, rather than someone just an expert.
Yeah, if you give me a chance.
Absolutely, go.
Right. So, since you have spent 30 years on aloo, so why don't you share some interesting facts about potatoes as well?
There
some information
a lot
about that.
to be sharing.
Something very miraculous.
Yeah, well,
something very interesting about potato, characteristics
what
of
do we know about
Can potato talk?
I can talk a lot about how one can, let's say, addicted to potato, but that's.
I'm addicted to potatoes. I love them.
That's because I'll tell you very privately.
That's why she calls me aloo.
It's because I think it's because the shape.
All right.
And then you know enough. Huh? It's because the shape. But on the other hand, it's a product which is very versatile. I mean, one can do anything. You mentioned the number, and I think I fully agree. If one looks at wheat, it has a particular purpose for using as a staple. The same for rice. Maize is even better because it's used now for biofuel. Potato has a lot of opportunities in the food sector and in the non-food sector. And that versatility creates outlets in the market.
Non-food sector.
Non-food sector in terms of potato is specifically used for starch.
Oh, yeah.
And that doesn't apply, at least I want to make you happy, of course, but doesn't apply that much to Pakistan because the raw material is too expensive.
Okay.
But there are opportunities for processing and adding value. And I think, chips, the slices, the lay stuff down in Lahore. And another thing would be possibly French fries.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell everybody in Pakistan should start eating French fries and chips.
No, please don't.
But if one does it once a year or twice a year, whatever, it will create a huge market. And one can develop a chain on it. And I think one of the reasons why the expansion of potato was that high is because people want to diversify in their food habits. And they move to other products.
So it does really make us fat, right?
Yeah.
No, it does
No,
not.
it depends. Everything's
Yeah, that's why I'm asking
No,
the
no.
researcher.
No, I must say no, I'm sorry.
It
It doesn't make one fat because you need to have a balanced food intake. And we all know that. You need to have a balanced food intake.
Well,
you
we
need to
know
have
that
a
it is
banana,
food,
a
I know
chapati, whatever, but not the same each day 3 times.
Exactly.
And that is the advantage of the potato. It's rich in vitamin C and in fiber.
Yes, it's very good.
And that's quite healthy as well.
And also during
So that's the Dutch people always were complaining that you get so fat. That's because of the huge amount of gravy people
the
put on it.
gravy. Okay.
But
Nothing to do with
We get that now.
So the
That's a
potatoes,
non-potato reason.
the potatoes are getting a bad reputation for no reason then. So, okay.
well, but I think it's
Within moderation,
changing.
it's very good. Yes.
And maybe something I would like to add for
Sure.
Pakistan. We had last week we had an event for salt-tolerant potatoes.
Salt-tolerant?
So these are potatoes that can grow on saline soils. And talking about climate change and changing, there's more and more soils that are not suitable for normal potatoes. And there is a farm in the Netherlands that has worked on a new variety, and that is salt tolerant. That's an island in the north.
And they're being utilized as well in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So there's so much information out there. There are lots of solutions, and we just need to be aware of them. But thank you so much for taking the time and discussing this. I've learned a lot today, so thank you so much. And best of luck with your visit here as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, before going, the only thing which I'm going to mention over here is, as Sir said, that that we'll probably give lectures to people who are on the first top tier, and then it's your responsibility then. So then they shared information with us, we shared it with you guys, and now it's your responsibility that if you have got growers around you, or probably you are surrounded with people who are farmers, educate them.
Exactly.
That's it.
And there's a lot that we can do even as individuals. We just need to do our research. As consumers, we can also demand a lot, and the quality that we're that we're paying for. So with that, do you log into our Facebook fan page?
Which is with the name of World This Morning.
Our Twitter page.
It's World This Morning without a G as well.
Our Daily Mission page.
World This Morning, and we've got a YouTube channel as well now.
Oh yes, we do.
Which is with the name of World This Morning, thanks to our producers. So people look up. Oh yeah, right.
And the repeat.
Repeat is at 5 past midnight.
He's
The
such a
fabulous
rush.
repeat is going to be at 5 past midnight.
Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow.
So 1, 2, 3. Good
Good morning.
morning.